Hi guys, so I'm out on a walk today and just enjoying, well, the countryside more than ever. It's not great weather here, but I just wanted to talk to you more about lactic acid training today. And I want to just talk a little bit about the dangers and how the lactic acid training, specifically 400-meter run, is not all it's cracked up to be. And we have to be careful about it. But first of all, I just wanted to mention that I've got some exciting news for all you guys that will help you in bring about relaxation. Okay, some exciting news that I'll talk to you about at the end of this video. So if you're interested about that, hearing that, please wait to the end of the video and I'll talk about it then. But first of all, let's talk about lactic acid training. There is this mentality specifically around athletes to basically kill their body during training, to really train hard and leave everything on the track. And it's the go hard or go home mentality that there is at the moment. The one more rep mentality that's so detrimental, and that is, for me, killing performance. Let's focus on lactic acid training specifically, that burn that we often, 400-meter athletes often kind of bring about, that want to bring it about, and the fact that they pride themselves on bringing that about, pride themselves on actually leaving everything on the track and just feeling totally spent at the end of the race, at the end of the training session, feeling they can't walk and stuff like that. And I often had that myself as an athlete. When I was 400-meter athlete, I often prided myself on that I've left everything on the tank. I've emptied the tank. I've left everything on in my training session. I've done enough, done what I can to make myself fitter, and the priority of fitness, when it wasn't helping me at all. Every time I used to, many of the sessions during the week when I was training, I'm training about 6 days a week in between my shift work as a gym instructor. And at least two of those training sessions brought about extreme fatigue. And I felt, I wasn't sick. I was very rarely sick after race, but I didn't, after training, but I wasn't feeling great. And I'd left everything on the track and I trained hard. The old mentality as well. And you see it with athletes now. I felt terrible kind of thing for about 15 minutes after it, but it affected my sleep the next night. Okay, so I didn't sleep well the night after, never did. Okay, and not sleeping well for an athlete is a killer. It's poison, because you need recovery after a training session like that. But if you've got a training session that's going to hinder your sleep like that, then it's not helpful. And the reason why it was not helpful is because essentially that I was raising stress levels so high, okay, and it was just detrimental. It wasn't helping me perform. The reason is to perform is to do the exercise, but make sure you get the recovery afterwards, because it's the recovery that actually brings about the actual performance rise. Okay, the raise in performance, raise in strength and fitness. That's what we recover for. But I was too focused on actually killing myself and making sure that I was, doing everything I could to actually improve my 400-meter performance. Now, we're now knowing a lot of research coming out how detrimental lactic acid training can be. So many athletes I notice, specifically when I'm coaching them, is what I've seen through, and it may have happened to me as well, although I was quite persistent with it. So many athletes do all the work on the training track and they come away from the actual races with nothing. There's slow times. They train hard, they put everything in there, and then the competitions don't go as well. And there is a reason for that, as I found out, is the fact that lactic acid training was not only making them slower, but it's also affecting their recovery, and it's ingraining tightness into their running as well. If you're training through lactic threshold, you're creating that burn through the training session, and you're leaving everything on the tack, you're training part of that training session through tightness. You're ingraining tightness into your running. You cannot deny that. So why would you want to do that? Why would you want to ingrain tightness into your running? Whatever you train your body to do in training, you will replicate in a race. This is what athletes don't understand. So by actually training your body, training hard, and putting yourself in that kind of uncomfortable lactic burn, you are going to be training tightness, and you're going to be training your body to create that burn. remember I was talking about in my world record video, the world records aren't, you know, broken through extreme effort. They aren't. A lot of those athletes have go through the finishing line, break the world record, fastest any athlete's ever gone. And they're celebrating, they're jogging. They're not spent, they're obviously fatigued, they're tired, that's undeniable, but they're walking around. They're not on the floor dead. And like a lot of our training sessions, a lot how we often train. And they're not, because they're in the groove. They raced that race and they were in the best shape. They were in the best state where they were relaxed enough, they were in the flow, and they were running how it should be. Now, our lactic acid training doesn't get you in that flow. It doesn't. It's actually trains you to be slow, and research is coming up to show that, but it's also training you to be tight as well. And it's increasing the chance of injury as well, because it increases so much stress levels that it needs great recovery afterwards, that if you don't get the recovery afterwards, then the chance of injury rise. Raised stress levels means more chance of injury. That's been proven through research as well. So you really need to understand the fact that lactic acid training is not all it's cracked up to be. It can be detrimental, and specifically if you do it too much, if you prioritize it every session. It's a problem, it's a real pandemic with 400 meter athletes and endurance training athletes, is the fact that they feel they need to kill themselves after each training session. They really need to actually specifically put it all in. And that's not what it's all about. Performance is not all about that. Lactic acid training affects your coordination, it affects your muscle contraction, it has you training at a lower level of performance. In fact, it's not quality training, which is what you need to be doing. And this is something that we really need as athletes to understand. We really need to prioritize it, that leaving everything on the track is it's easier. It may be satisfying for you in terms of actually, I've done enough, I've done as much as I can to bring about my performance, but it's by no means helping you at all. It's a real pandemic with athletes at the moment, that train hard or go home kind of mentality. Doesn't work. Now I'm going to be putting down articles below just for you to have a read about, and goes a little bit more into the lactic acid training. I'm also going to put an article about the anti-glycolytic training, which is an better option for endurance, specifically speed endurance for athletes, 400 meter athletes, that you should try. Anti-glycolytic training is a way of training that actually prevents the production of lactic acid, but also gets you more endurance. And it's much more way of action. It will help you actually keep relaxation in your running. It helps you keep relaxed when you're running, and that's a big priority for athletes. You have to be able to make sure that you're ingraining relaxation into your running each rep. It has to be there. Once you train yourself in that way, you bring it relaxation, more chance of bringing relaxation into your racing. Although there's nerves and anxiety that come about with racing, but yes, at least you're training in the right way to perform well at your racing. So I'm going to put that below, all the articles below, so you can click through and read more about the detriments of actually lactic acid training and anti-glycolytic training, and why that's a better option. But I'm talking about the great news. I'm bringing out an online program next week that I've been working on for about a year. And this is a very exciting for you, because it's got techniques in it that basically based in massage, a couple of massage techniques that I use inside for my sports massage therapy kind of sessions that will instantly bring about relaxation for you. Now, you might be skeptical, but there's things that you can do in terms of prompting the body into kind of relaxed state. And when your body's in a relaxed state, you feel lighter. And it actually, relaxed state, once you prompt relaxation, it activates muscles. So we're going to, I've got a sequence that I'm going to be in this online program that's been hugely helpful. That's going to be, you can do in 5 minutes. That's going to prompt that relaxed state for you just before your race. And it's you're going to be able to handle nerves, anxiety, and things like that are going to just help you upgrade your your kind of athletic performance. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to be releasing it next week. I've still got to put the final touches to the program. And I'm also going to put obviously going to think for a period of time, I'm going to put a discount for you for a period of time that first week on opening release. And stay tuned for it. But this is an online program that you should have. if you really want to be serious about bringing relaxation into your racing and making sure that you're in the optimal state to bring about that performance. But that's the exciting news. Stay tuned for that next week, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.